there's a big breaking story from the NFL overnight. So Brian Flores was the coach of the Miami Dolphins. He put back-to-back winning seasons together. And it's the first time the Dolphins have had back-to-back winning seasons since 2002, 2003. And then he was sacked. And it was quite a shock in terms of how these NFL gigs go. There wasn't any significant whispers, really, that his job was at risk. So he got sacked and then immediately became one of the most attractive head coaching candidates for the available jobs. And this year there are 9 available jobs in the NFL in terms of the head coaching gig. Now, Brian Flores is black. He was a coach under Bill Belichick. He was part of the Bill Belichick coaching tree and actually did really well against the Patriots because the Miami Dolphins obviously are in the same division as the Patriots. They played them twice, home and away, and he had a brilliant record, particularly in Miami, against Belichick, which would suggest, again, an excellent coach, so a rising star within the game. He's 40 and he's from the defensive side of the ball, which is obviously sometimes more difficult to find people who can build a team that's going to be successful year on year on year. But Flores could do that, and so therefore he was being linked with a lot of the big jobs. Just 3 or 4 days ago, before the Chicago Bears made their announcement of who they were going to get, he apparently had smitten the team, but then somebody else got the gig. It emerged yesterday in a document filed in High Court in Manhattan that he was suing the NFL, the New York Giants, the Broncos and the Dolphins for racial discrimination. There's a load of different bits of fairly amazing information that his team have put in the legal document. It also starts with a Martin Luther King quote, and it refers to the NFL being run like a plantation. It highlights the fact that there is one full-time head coach who is black, despite the fact that 70% of the workforce are black. And it also talks about how the owners sit in their massive boxes looking down on their staff, putting their bodies on the line and suffering injuries while they make all the money. And it refers to the organisation being run like a plantation. The NFL have denied this, the Giants have denied it, the Broncos have denied it, and the Miami Dolphins have denied it as well. But 3 key things really. One is that Bill Belichick actually texted him to congratulate him on getting the Giants job. There's a back and forth in the text which have been published where it's like, oh, I hear you're getting the Giants job. He's like, oh, thanks a million. My interview's in a couple of days' time. He's like, oh, well, as far as I know, you're the guy. And then he was like, this is Brian Flores. And he goes, ooh, my bad, says Belichick. I actually meant Brian Dable. It's like, oh, so I'm going for an interview in a couple of days' time and you're telling me they've already picked their guy. True to form, who got the gig? Not Flores, but Dable. So Belichick obviously had been told what was going to happen, and what was going to happen did come to happen. In the NFL, there's a thing called the Rooney Rule where you are forced by decree from the organisation to interview people of colour and minorities for all available coaching positions. Frequently, there are candidates who appear on the interview lists, and every interview has to be logged with the league office to make sure that there's no messing around. But frequently, people appear on the candidate list who do a circle of interviews and never get a job. It has become a sham. And what Flores is saying is this is an absolute sham. I was merely being interviewed to fulfil the criteria of the Rooney Rule. Again, the Giants deny this. I guess everybody's going to make their own minds up, and hopefully this goes to court and a lot of stuff will come out about the hiring processes in the NFL. So if you think about what Kaepernick did, so Kaepernick kneeled and then was essentially blackballed by the organisation. No team would hire him because of his stance. Now everybody kneels before games. Now it's like it's taken for granted. But what this case is going to be will end up being the Kaepernick situation on steroids. Although obviously Kaepernick was first, and so therefore, you know, when the story comes to be written, you have to put Kaepernick there and what he gave up. But Flores in his statement is saying that he expects maybe never to be able to coach again, despite the fact that he says he's got a God-given talent for it. He's 40 years of age. He's a brilliant coach. He should be a head coach again this year, or at worst he should be doing a defensive coordinator's job for somebody who's a contender, winning a Super Bowl and then getting another opportunity on the carousel. And maybe he will. Maybe there are some progressive owners out there who are like, well, I'm not one of those 3 organisations who didn't hire him.